changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. It's Thoughtful Thursday, and today I want to talk about how one little word can make a big difference to how you relate with other people. Do you ever say to yourself, I'm not going to say such and such ever again because you realize you've fallen into the habit of saying something that is not particularly pleasant or productive? Well, that's what Linda O'Connell did. She realized that she was saying one little 3-letter word a lot, and it was hurting people. Linda's story is called 2 Little Words with a Big Impact, and we published it in Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Resolution. Even though that was 8 years ago, this is one of those stories that have stuck in my head. Linda says that she always considered herself a positive thinker. She was an upbeat person. She was an optimist. She always tried to find the best in every situation. She was a teacher, too, working with young children. So she knew the importance of using positive words and dishing out the praise to the little kids as they tried to do new things like write their names. Linda was great at praising everyone, but she realized she had a bad habit of adding on one more thing, the word but. So she'd ooh and ah when a student attempted to print her name, and she'd compliment most of the letters. But then Linda would say but. She'd say, that is a great A, and your D is nice and tall too. But your letter E should be shorter. Can you erase it and try to make it shorter? Linda realized she should have said something more like, I love your letter A and your letter D, and I think it's great the way you are working to make your letter E a little shorter. When Linda's recently divorced daughter called her, all excited to tell her about a house she was interested in buying, Linda listened and said all the right things until she said, but don't you think you might want to buy closer to your work? Her daughter had been so excited until she heard that word, but. And the moment Linda said but, she could hear her daughter's happiness and excitement diminish. She had ruined this moment for her daughter. She should have substituted the word and instead of but. She should have said, honey, I'm glad you found a house in your price range, and I'm happy for you. Then Linda did it again when she was visiting her son and grandchildren. Her son was babysitting on the weekend while his wife worked, and Linda was telling him what a great father he was. He was beaming because, after all, you never outgrow that good feeling you get when your mother praises you. But then Linda pressed on. She said, you should be commended for spending your whole day taking your little boy to his sports events. But don't you think he might be worn out and ready for a bath? There it was again, the but word. Linda's son stopped smiling. He said, he'll be fine. I'll get him to bed soon. And that was the end of that pleasant moment. The but word kept popping up when it shouldn't. When Linda's husband did the dishes, emptied the dishwasher, and folded the laundry, she thanked him and told him how wonderful he was. But then she used that word again, saying, but why did you leave crumbs all over the counter? Linda was horrified with herself. She had to stop saying but. She says that she knows that most of the resolutions she makes won't work out. She won't lose 20 pounds. She won't do the rigorous exercise program that would be good for her, and she won't attend church as often as she means to. She can, however, make one resolution that she should be able to keep, and that is to stop using that one little word so much. She will work hard keeping those but phrases from coming out of her mouth. She wants to keep the praise clean and simple without that negative little phrase added on at the end. And I think that's advice that many of us can use. I don't know why we feel the need to mess up our compliments with that little extra word of advice that starts with but. However, it seems like a good thing to keep in mind. Just by paying attention, we may be able to clean up our compliments and not add those little negatives at the end. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening today. Tomorrow is Friend Friday, and we're going to have a special guest, Kat Canavos, who will tell us she diagnosed her own cancer through her dreams, even when the doctor said that she was fine. If you'd like to read more great tips from the book I mentioned today, Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Resolution, please go to our website, chickensoup.com. And if you have any comments on the podcast, please shoot me an email at amy@chickensoupforthesoul.com.